we know is that she had an elective surgery, and a day later, she died.
Doctor who killed Donda West.
I think I was set up as the fall guy.
I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
The last man to see Kanye's mother, Donda, alive has kept a low profile for years. There have been NDAs, investigations, and a whole lot of finger-pointing between him and the surgeon. But now, he's breaking his silence. But some of the things he said didn't just clear the air. They raised even more questions about that night Donda died. It's been almost 2 decades since Dr. Donda West passed after cosmetic surgery, and people are still talking about what really happened that night. For years, the story was kind of brushed off as a tragic accident. But if you've been around the internet long enough, you've heard the rumors, and Kanye himself said it directly, his mom was sacrificed. But what does that even mean? Was Kanye speaking metaphorically to say he neglected his mom while he was chasing success? Why did he use the word sacrifice? And then there are all the weird details that never seemed to add up. The surgeon blamed the nurse for negligence. The nurse said that's not true. The coroner gave one explanation, but people who were around Donda that night say something different. And when you put all these puzzle pieces together, the picture starts looking a lot darker than what the headlines told us back in 2007. So what really happened in that house the night Donda West died? Why is her nurse only speaking out now? And how much of this ties into the rumors about industry sacrifices? Let's break it down.
This is the part that I feel as if she's speaking from the grave. If you could come by on Friday evening or even call, that would be great.
So let's start with a little background on what went down with Dr. Donda West's death, because it's way weirder than what most people realize. Donda passed away on November 10th, 2007 at just 58 years old after getting cosmetic surgery. That's the official story. But when the autopsy came out, it didn't exactly clear things up. It actually made everything more confusing. The report said multiple post-operative factors could have played a role, which is basically medical speak for we don't really know. At the same time, it insisted there was no evidence of surgical or anesthetic misadventure. So in other words, nothing technically went wrong with the surgery itself. And to top it off, the deputy medical examiner stated that the manner of death could not be determined. So from the very beginning, there was this uncertainty hanging over the case. Nothing was ruled out, but nothing was confirmed either. And that's exactly why so many rumors started flying. So after the coroner's report dropped, the LA authorities jumped in to investigate. And what they found out about Dr. Jan Adams, the surgeon who operated on Kanye's mom, was pretty shocking. Turns out he wasn't exactly squeaky clean. The guy had a DUI on his record, and as if that wasn't enough, he'd also been hit with not one, but 2 major settlements for surgical malpractice. And if the surgeon's sketchy past wasn't enough, Dr. Adams' behavior after Donda's death was, well, weird to say the least. Just 10 days later, on November 20th, 2007, he showed up on Larry King Live. And you'd think he tried to calmly explain what happened, right? Well, the moment Larry started asking questions about the procedures he'd done on Donda, Dr. Adams got super defensive. And then, out of nowhere, he walked off the set.
But I'll continue to honor.
Then just a few things having nothing to do with them. Don't you want to speak out?
No.
You don't want to?
No. I do not.
All right, but you came here to speak out.
That's correct. But I'm going to honor their wishes.
Now, a few months later, Dr. Adams came back for another round on Larry King Live, saying he was there to defend himself and clear his name. But as soon as Larry started digging into what actually happened to Donda, Adams started dodging questions left and right. And he also brought his lawyer along. So every time Larry tried to press, the lawyer would jump in to shut it down.
Certainly not accurate.
Did the autopsy clear you of any involvement, do you think, in her death?
I think the autopsy speaks for itself. Period.
You know, Larry, if I can jump in here for 1 second, one of the things that I wanted to address here today is you can say things about me, I can say things about you, and people can say things about each other out on the street. But Dr. Adams is a physician, and because he's a physician, he's in a position where he is not able to comment on any care or any discussions that he's had with any of his patients, including Dr. West and any other patients.
And because of all this, plus the fact that Dr. Adams had a history of DUIs and malpractice lawsuits, most people automatically assumed he messed up during Donda's surgery and was just trying to dodge responsibility. But then the story took a wild turn. Adams did an exclusive interview with Inside Edition and dropped some crazy claims. He suggested that Kanye actually knows what really happened to his mom.
Kanye West can end this by telling the truth.
And what do you believe that truth is?
The doctor had nothing to do with his mom's death. West survived the surgery very well. She was at home.
Did anything during that surgery go wrong?
No,
Were there any complications during the surgery?
no,
Was there anything prior to the operation that gave you pause about operating on this woman?
no.
And then Dr. Adams pointed fingers at Kanye's cousin, Stefan Scoggins. Stefan, a registered nurse, was allegedly taking care of Donda after her surgery. And according to Adams, he left her alone after someone gave her 20 painkillers.
Her nurse wasn't there. Her nurse was gone to a baby shower rather than taking care of his aunt. This lady shouldn't be dead. All you had to do is sit her up. And every nurse on the planet knows that. Caregivers gave her, 20 Vicodin tabs in less than 20 hours.
Now, Stefan, of course, denied all of it. He said he wasn't actually in charge of her post-op care, and even shared receipts in the form of an email exchange with Donda the night before she died, seemingly proving he hadn't been with her in the days after the surgery.
Kanye's cousin, Stefan Scoggins, is coming to Crime Watch Daily to set the record straight about Donda's mysterious death, and he's steaming mad.
I was, to say the least, ticked off.
Ticked off at what Scoggins calls false allegations from Donda West plastic surgeon Dr. Jan Adams. Adams was cleared by investigators in Donda's death. Although she had heart disease, no conclusive cause was ever determined.
What we know is that she had an elective surgery, and a day later, she died.
And Dr. Adams' reputation has been in tatters. And now he's pointing the finger at Kanye's cousin, claiming Scoggins, who is a registered nurse, was in charge of her post-op care, and he left her side to go to a family baby shower.
It's just a damn lie.
And Scoggins says he's got the smoking gun evidence to prove it. Emails he exchanged with Donda the night before her surgery.
Don't hesitate to let me know if you need anything.
Emails that he's sharing publicly for the first time ever, right here on Crime Watch Daily.
This is the part that I feel as if she's speaking from the grave. If you could come by on Friday evening or even call, that would be great. That clearly never suggested that I was going to be providing her post-operative care, because it was never the case.
Authorities also looked into Adams' claims about Stefan, but nothing added up. There was no evidence making him a suspect, and he was officially cleared of any wrongdoing. So yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of strange details surrounding Donda West's tragic passing. But if anything Dr. Adams said is true, then Kanye might actually be sitting on the full story about what really happened to his mom. But if it wasn't Dr. Adams, who did Kanye blame? Well, he said it straight up. He blamed himself, and he even went as far as to say that his mom was sacrificed. And according to Kanye, this happens all the time in Hollywood, where celebs sacrifice their loved ones for fame and fortune.
The only person that I serve, my mom ain't here, my mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, you appreciate
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that. In order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
And here's the creepiest part in all this. It's not just Kanye who's noticed that celebrities often lose loved ones under strange or suspicious circumstances right before their careers blow up. Take A$AP Rocky, for example. He lost several family members, and every time tragedy hit, his fame seemed to skyrocket. Back in 2012, his dad, Adrian Mayers, passed away suddenly, just months after Rocky signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sony Music and dropped his debut studio album. Then, in January 2015, just 4 months before Rocky was set to release his second studio album, his best friend, A$AP Yams, died from a suspected OD. Now, the timing of these events could have been just a coincidence. But see, it happened again in 2018. That year, Rocky's half-sister passed away right before he dropped his third studio album, Testing. So after all of this, Rocky himself admitted in an interview with The Genius that every time he put out a new project, he ended up losing someone close to him.
Every time I put out an album, or every time I'm about to release an album, for some fucking strange reason, man, you know what I'm saying? I always lose somebody close to me. It was my pops, it was Yams, it was my sister, like, I always lose somebody close to me, so.
And then another example that people often bring up when talking about these Hollywood sacrifices is Jennifer Hudson. She went through a horrific tragedy, losing multiple family members just before she won her first Grammy. On October 24th, 2008, Jennifer's mother, Darnell Donnerson, and her brother, Jason Hudson, were found fatally shot in Darnell's Chicago home. And it didn't stop there. Jennifer's 7-year-old nephew, Julian King, the son of her older sister, Julia, went missing in the aftermath of the shooting. Sadly, his lifeless body was eventually discovered in a parked car on Chicago's West Side, and autopsy results confirmed that Julian had sustained multiple wounds. Now here's where it gets sketchy. On the very same day that Jennifer's mother and brother were found dead, her sister Julia's estranged husband, William Balfour, was taken into custody. He was hit with some serious charges, 3 counts of first-degree and 1 count of felony home invasion. He pleaded not guilty to everything, but he was eventually convicted and sentenced to 3 life terms plus an extra 120 years. But here's where it gets complicated. The medical examiner initially said that Jennifer's nephew had already been dead for 3 days before his body was found. But during the trial, Balfour's defense attorney pressed the examiner on the timing, and the examiner admitted that Julian might have died earlier than first thought. And this mattered a lot for the defense because Balfour had already been arrested the same day Jennifer's mom and brother were discovered. So if Julian passed after Balfour was in custody, he couldn't have been responsible for Julian's death. And to this day, Balfour has continued to insist he's innocent.
I mean, they done tested everything and I was cleared of it. Evidence, the keys, was processed a month later. What police department take evidence off somebody and process it a month later? Keys that they saying that was in a file cabinet, locked up in the sergeant's office. Who was to believe that?
So all of these strange details have led some fans to wonder if Jennifer might be another example of a celebrity who traded a part of her personal life for fame. People were pointing at the timing, because just 8 months after the tragedy, Jennifer started recording her debut studio album. And by June, her single, Spotlight, became her first top 40 hit. Then her self-titled debut album dropped in September, less than a month before she lost her mom, brother, and nephew. The album was a massive success, landing at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and skyrocketing Jennifer to stardom. And it didn't stop there. The album also won the Grammy for Best R&B Album. So yeah, the timing was just strange, and this is exactly why fans keep pointing to J. Hud's story when they talk about industry sacrifices.
The Grammy for Best R&B Album goes to Jennifer Hudson.
Some fans have even speculated that Jennifer's family tragedy might have been the price she paid for her Oscar-winning performance in Dreamgirls. Remember, she had never acted in a movie or TV show before this, and yet she won an Oscar. Meanwhile, there are many veteran actors and actresses with decades of experience who have never won an Academy Award. Now listen, there are plenty of conspiracy theories about Hollywood that are totally insane, but can we really just brush this off, especially knowing how the industry actually works? There's a lot of dark energy in Hollywood, and whether or not you want to believe people literally get sacrificed, you can't ignore that some things just don't add up. So now I want to hear what you think about Kanye's mom Donda's passing. Was her death just a tragic circumstance, or do you think Kanye meant it literally when he said she was sacrificed? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you in this next video.